Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be talking about the RQ-4 Global Hawk from the United States military, the long-range UAV. Please remember to like and subscribe. Alright, Fact 1. 3 distinct blocks. The RQ-4 Global Hawk has been around for quite some time, and it actually consists of 3 distinct blocks. By blocks, I mean several iterations. The Block 10 aircraft was the first ones, and they retired in 2011. Block 20s was the second version. However, it was only fielded with INT only capabilities. And then Block 20s were retired except for 3 of them, which are converted to an EQ version we'll get into in the next sections. Block 30 is the current active in deployment version. It's a multi-intelligence platform that can carry out all sorts of surveillance and electronic warfare. It's extremely powerful and is supported many different operations since its operational capability in 2011. This is the current and most greatest version of the Global Hawk. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 2. 2 systems. The Global Hawk is actually flown by 2 separate systems. There is the launch and recovery element, which is mostly about the avionics and flying the aircraft, and a mission control element, which is mostly about using the electronic surveillance equipment and also sensors and cameras and so forth. The launch and recovery element is located at the aircraft base and operations to launch and control the aircraft while en route to and from the target area. The mission control controls the ISR missions as I mentioned, and like the launch and recovery, it's manned by a pilot as well, but also has a sensor operator. So as you can see, the pilot workstations will compose of 3 individuals. The avionics and flight control pilot will be responsible for the launch and control element, while the mission control pilot and the sensor operator are responsible for the mission control elements. All pilot workstations consist of communications outside the entities to coordinate a mission with aircraft control, airborne controllers, ground controllers, or other ISR assets. These 3 distinctive operators can help alleviate each other's workload management. Alright, Fact 3. 34.3 hour record. Because the RQ-4 Global Hawk is a high altitude long endurance UAV, it is no secret that its main function is to stay in flight as long as possible to gather intelligence data and surveillance data. And by doing so, it has achieved a 30+ hour long endurance without any refueling. I think it's incredible, and again, something that cannot be done with manned aircrafts. Because simply, the manned aircrafts are much heavier and will require refueling. And not only that, humans are not able to concentrate flying for 30+ hours. And so, for a small drone-like aircraft, it is probably impossible for a human to fly in it for 30+ hours straight without any sort of refueling or breaks. And so, it is perfect for UAVs such as Global Hawk to undertake long endurance missions without any sort of refueling or breaks. Alright, let's get into Fact 4. Near real time. So as we talked about earlier, the primary mission of the RQ-4 is to gather surveillance and intelligence data. And unfortunately, it's not actually real time. The Air Force have talked about it's actually only near real time, meaning that as soon as the camera and sensors capture the images, it takes some time to relay it back to the ground control stations. And remember, the operators could be thousands and thousands of miles away from these aircrafts, and so it does take time to triangulate the image data or the sensor data from the Global Hawk back to the ground stations. As a result, it's not actually instantaneous real time, it is only near real time. And I think that's a factor that it's difficult to improve simply because of the distance between the operators and the aircraft. I think if the operators and the aircraft are fairly close to each other, they might achieve very close to real-time data because the data will travel much shorter distances rather than across the globe in some cases. Alright, let's get to the next and final fact, EQ4 version. As we mentioned earlier, 3 of the Block 20s have been converted to the EQ version. The EQ version is a different type where the E delineates the communication control of the BACN equipped aircraft. What this means is that the E version has a different type of communication relay configuration carrying battlefield airborne communication node payload. This really means that the EQ version is sort of like a hub or a router, if you will, that can help transmit data from really remote locations or really remote sensors or UAVs, and then act as another point of transmission to relay that data back to the ground stations. I think it's pretty interesting that they decided to do this rather than beef up their satellite constellation systems. They decided to use another UAV to relay data and therefore shortening the distance the data needs to travel and provide more real-time imagery and sensor data so they can be fully aware of their surroundings and environment at all times. Since the second generation Block 20s were to be retired anyway, I think it makes good value to convert them to relay modules instead. In fact, I think that's so much better than just completely scrapping them and have everything go to waste. Alright, that's it for my video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.